So today I'm going to show you how to make a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern, something festive for this holiday season, if you consider Halloween a holiday at all. So first thing, delete this person in the middle of our SketchUp screen by highlighting it and pressing delete. I'm going to take the circle shape and I'm going to lay it down on the origin as the path for my jack-o'-lantern shape. Now, for every jack-o'-lantern, it's not just going to be a filled up pumpkin, you're actually going to need it to be hollow. So we're going to have to use some of the earlier techniques for creating things like a cup. So we're going to want to create the walls of the cup. So in order to do this, I'm going to take the rectangle tool, go to the origin, drag up a rectangular shape vertically, like so. Once I have that in place, I'm going to take the arc tool right here, 2-point arc, and because this pumpkin doesn't have to be all that precise for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to click 2 times on the vertical line and draw out a nice arc, like so. I'm zooming in and out just to make sure everything is connected properly. I'm then going to take the offset tool and offset this side by a little bit. This is going to be the wall of my pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. Now, I'm going to need to be able to select the outside perimeter separately, and you'll notice that as I scroll through and place my cursor over the pumpkin walls, everything is highlighted. So the reason for that is that this line is not connected, so be sure to close out your shapes like so. So I'm going to go to the bottom as well. Close this out. Alright, so now you can see that when I select the perimeter, it is highlighted just by itself. I'm then going to go ahead and delete the lines that I had here. Those lines were purely just for setting up my shape in a vertical orientation. I'm then going to create a little opening for my pumpkin. So in order to do that, I'm going to actually cut out a bit right here. This is necessary so there's a space at the top to insert a candle or candy or whatever you like to put in your Halloween jack-o'-lanterns. So then I'm going to select the path. I'm going to go to Tools, Follow Me, and then select the shape we want to follow that perimeter, and there we go. There's the beginning of our jack-o'-lantern pumpkin. So even though this pumpkin shape looks pretty good, the hole at the top is too small, so I'm going to have to make it a little bit larger. So I'm going to select the plane that we laid down below it, the circular form, the circular face, right click on it and say select all connected, and then right click again and then make it a group. I'm then going to take the move tool, press up the up arrow and move it up to whatever level I want my cut to be at. And this is all to make the hole of for the pumpkin a little bit bigger. So let's say I want it there. I'm then going to highlight everything. I'm going to right click on it and say explode. I'm then going to highlight everything and say right click intersect faces with the model. Now once I get to this stage, I can start deleting some portions that are not necessary. So I'm going to take that one, take this here, I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this internal portion. What I then want to do is look around on my shape. Right click, that doesn't need to be there as well. Oops, select all connected. Select all connected, just deleting away the lines that I don't need. Now you'll notice that when I select the top portion, it's highlighting everything. In order to get around this issue of not being able to punch a hole here in the center, I'm going to delete that whole top portion. You'll see that it cuts away everything and exposes the inner portion of our pumpkin walls. So to close this once again, to close the wall out, take the line tool and draw a few lines from side to side. And when you have done that pattern that I just created there, that triangular pattern, your wall will be back in place and your pumpkin hollow again, ready to accept a candle, candy, or whatever you want to put inside it down the line. The next thing we're going to do is cut out a bottom flat portion of our circle so it doesn't roll around on a table. So take the circular form, circular shape right here, lay one down on the origin. What I then want to do is click on it, right click, select all connected, and then right click again and make it a group. Once this is complete, I'm going to move it up into my pumpkin form to the level I want the cut to be at. Now I'm not going to drag it up too high because I want to maintain the walls and also the general circular form for my pumpkin. So that's about right. I may even try and lower that a little bit more. Just like about there. Really make a subtle cut on the bottom, like so. Once that's complete, you can highlight everything, right click on it, and then say explode. I'm then going to highlight everything again, right click on it, and say intersect faces with the model. Now that that's done, I can go ahead and start deleting the portions that I don't need. Things like that. My cut actually took place, and you'll see now I have a nice little flat section for my pumpkin shape to sit on. No longer will it roll around. So now it's time to add the fireworks to our pumpkin, soon to be a jack-o'-lantern. We've got to put a little face on it. So the way to do this is take the rectangular shape, draw a rectangle up so it is positioned vertically. Now you may have to orient the screen so the software knows that you're trying to do that. So there's my vertical rectangle. What I then want to do is I'm actually going to move this whole thing a bit closer to my jack-o'-lantern or pumpkin shape right now, just so I can get a sense of how big the eyes and mouth have to be. So now what I'm going to do is take the pencil tool, and you can take your time and put in a little more detailed face. Perhaps you want a frown, maybe you want a smiley face. For me, I'm going to keep it simple, and I just want to have a little watermelon mouth and two triangles as the eyes. So here are my triangles right now. Draw those out. Like I said, you can spend a little bit more time drawing these things. You may have to zoom in close, and if you make an error like that, just Command Z it and undo it till you get back to where you want to be. All the lines you draw should be laid down on the face. I'm then going to make the mouth, taking the line tool, 2-point arc, and dip it down a little bit. Alright, so what I need to do next is I need to extrude these out. The eyes will turn into prism shapes. The mouth will be like a giant slice of watermelon. See how the back portions are hollow? You're going to want to close those out. Easy way to do this is just by taking the line tool and retracing one of the part of the perimeter of each of those shapes. I'm then going to delete away that rectangular face we used to create this collection of shapes right here. Now what I want to do is I want to highlight everything that we just made, right click on it and make it a group. This will allow us to move the shapes we just made into our pumpkin sphere without them sticking together yet. So I'm then going to drift what we made into our pumpkin form, position it how I want it to be, lower it slightly. Make sure that your forms don't dip into the back wall, and by that I mean don't have them extend back into the back portion like that. You only want the eyes and mouth to exist on one face, one part of your pumpkin. So it should really look like this. I'm going to lower this just slightly. Alright, so once this is done, you can highlight everything, right click, explode, and then what I'm going to do is highlight everything once again, right click, intersect faces with the model. I can then begin the process of deleting away lines that I don't want. So these internal portions here are not necessary. It can be a little bit time consuming, but really be careful to delete only those lines that are not necessary to holding the shape together. You don't want to delete a wall by accident or a line which will eventually be essential to keeping your shape solid. So I'm going to delete that away too, and this. Work on the external portions now. It looks like I have some kind of a flat plane just sitting there. You're going to want to get rid of that. It's time to work on the outside. Just delete all that away. Taking the eraser tool, hovering it over lines, hovering it over faces, cleaning it up. Right. So, almost complete now. Just gonna remove these back portions too. So there you have it. You have eyes and face cut out of your circular sphere form. So it's time to make a lid for our jack-o'-lantern. So the way to do this is to first measure the hole at the top, and it's telling me that it's around 595 millimeters as the diameter. So in order to find the radius, I'm going to do 595 divided by 2, which is around 297. So when I take the circle tool right here and I lay it down flat, I'm going to type in 297, enter, and it gives me a perimeter which is around the same size as the opening up at the top of our jack-o'-lantern. So to be safe, I'm just going to offset this a little bit so we don't run into a situation where we printed something and it actually doesn't slide into the opening. So I'm just going to do a little bit of an offset like that. I'm then going to delete the external perimeter. I'll extrude this shape up slightly. What I'll then do is I will offset the top of my shape right here just by a small amount. What I can then do is I can extrude the outside perimeter as well as the center perimeter so they're at the same level. So this will be the top of my jack-o'-lantern, and the smaller part extending downwards will act as a type of cork for my lid. So you may be satisfied with what we've created so far as the lid, but it is nice when you can stylize it a bit and perhaps you want to round out the top. So to do this, what we're going to do is first draw a line across the top of our lid. I'm then going to draw a line up in a vertical orientation. So everything should look like this. You're then going to take the 2-point arc, and from the top of the vertical line you just drew, you're going to create a nice little arc, a nice cross section in the middle like that. I'm going to delete away lines which aren't necessary to creating the lid. I'm then going to select the path, the top perimeter of our circular lid, go to Tools, then select Follow Me, and then select the plane, and there you go. As easy as that, we have a rounded form in place. So it would definitely help to have a handle to remove our lid off of our pumpkin jack-o'-lantern. So to do this, and it is optional, it's purely just to make what we've created in SketchUp a little bit more functional. Lay down a circle, preferably a smaller one than the actual lid. You're then going to take the 2-point arc. You're going to go from the center of the circle we just created, click once along the green axis, and you're going to want to move this path upwards till you get to the half circle point. What you're then going to do is you're going to select that arc as the path for our circular form to follow. Go to Tools, Follow Me, and select the circle, and there you have a nice pipe shape. What we're then going to do is we're going to highlight it. We're going to right click on it and make it a group. The next step is to take the Move tool and move it into our lid and orient it in a position that we want it to be in. And that looks okay, but of course you can tweak it till you get it to be perfect. So that looks pretty good right there. So once I have it in a position I like it to be at, I'm still tweaking it around because I do want this jack-o'-lantern to be perfect, or as perfect can be. You're going to highlight both shapes, right click, explode, highlight everything once again, right click, and then select intersect faces with model, and there we have a nice little lid. To make sure that everything will look good when put together, what I like to do is group the two portions of the jack-o'-lantern, lid and actual face. So make group like this and make it a group, and from here I can actually move the lid up and then move it on top of the jack-o'-lantern just to see what it would look like. And you know, if I was going to do a few revisions to this, I can already tell that the lid could be even nicer if the top portion, not the corked bottom part, but the top portion of the lid was wider. So that's my jack-o'-lantern with a little hat. enjoy, and I hope the tutorial was helpful.